Welcome to the Memoriam, where we take a look at notable ships from the Get Brock series, specifically from the 11th Fleet Rebellion, and in the future potentially other series. We'll start this off with the Harpy. She started life as a 4th generation corvette from the Protoss class, hull designation 172. She was laid down in the Apoapsis shipyard in the Wolf system and would join the 11th Fleet deployed to the same system. Here she would remain for over a decade, coming in and out of reserve as needed with little fanfare, mostly as a troop supply transport. 5 years before the 11th Fleet Rebellion, she and the rest of the Federal Fleet ships would receive the Mark II upgrade package. This included more armor, ion thrusters, and increased weaponry. This reflected the Federal Navy's new doctrine at the time, which had frigates, specifically the Protoss class, move from a support utility vessel to a light skirmishing vessel. This was an attempt to quell talks of insurrection across the different fleet systems. This added firepower would hopefully allow the vessel to function in small engagements in the peripheries of the systems, where capital ships were too expensive to deploy.
At this point, she joined 73 other Protoss ships in the 11th Fleet, which totaled over 180 ships, including the reserve, making it the second largest fleet in the Federal Navy, ahead of the 9th Fleet and behind the Earth Home Fleet. As Federal Navy funding further decreased leading up to the 9th Fleet revolt and the subsequent battle over Mars, individual systems were cut off from Earth funding and were expected to maintain the systems themselves.
With this budget cut, the Harpy was returned to 11th Fleet Reserve, but not before receiving the Mark III upgrade package, mandated after the battle over Mars, which attempted to further upgrade the incredibly aging Protoss, Atlas, and Cerberus class ships, adding more thrusters, survivability, as well as some other features. She would spend the next year and a half in unremarkable isolation in an asteroid belt outpost, along with a couple of other Gen 4 Mark I and Mark II Protoss class ships. When the loyal 11th Fleet was rolled into Task Force Dawn, a contingent of ships and personnel sent from the Home Fleet to investigate the now 2-month-old rebellion in the Wolf system, the Harpy was pulled out of reserve and sent into serve once again. After the Battle of Farsight Station, she would receive an unofficial upgrade package, putting her roughly on par with the Mark III Atlas frigate. These upgrades included more thruster, weapons, and shield tech from the 6th generation ships. She was to serve in the escort and reconnaissance role, aiding the stretched-thin task force. When the Battle of Lunar Base Serenity, 11th Fleet's previous command post, the Harpy was rolled into a battle group with Dawn and the Snuggles, where she would serve with a couple of other ships as a screening force. Together with these ships, she would destroy 3 Atlas-class ships, as well as damaging numerous others. She also provided cover for the ground invasion of the base. As the battle unfolded, she was deployed to the lunar surface to assist in the ground assault, as she was one of the few ships able to penetrate the now weakened 900mm base defense undetected. Here she would make her last stand, unfortunately, under the command of Commander Chad. Upon the ground team's exfil, she would encounter a seriously upgraded Atlas-class frigate named the Wolf's Claw. Outclassed and outgunned, she would be destroyed on the lunar surface, buying time for the ground team to escape. Commander Chad and Lieutenant Wilcox would be presumed KIA in the inferno of the utterly destroyed ship. The ship's engineering officer would be the only survivor, as he took the ship's Osprey transport to save the ground team. After the 11th Fleet Rebellion and as information from the events were uncovered, Commander Chad would receive the Silver Star for fighting against overwhelming odds, putting the mission and his brothers-in-arms before his own life.